Welcome to another caster by me on my YouTube channel. We are going to be doing Queen versus Stork. This is on the map Retro. Both players sharing the left side. Could be a pretty action-packed one here. Because when you're both sharing one side of a map on this, you have really quick access to each other, more so than pretty much any other four-player map we have. By the way, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe and like the video. Let me know what you think about this game and this kind of content in the comment section. And let me cover my ugly mug up and let's get into this game. So, Queen, I think if you follow competitive StarCraft, he's a guy, especially recently, you don't need much of an introduction. This guy almost took the throne away from Flash, the spotlight off of Flash as, you know, the best player about 4 or 5 years ago. Was a real scary force. I wouldn't say he's been pushed to the wayside. He just hasn't been winning everything like he has been before. But he's always a real threat. And going up against Stork, where if you're more of a historian of StarCraft, you know, you're around my age, I mean, this was one of the greatest players of all time. He still is up there with the pantheon of great players, but he hasn't had the same kind of success in the modern StarCraft era. He's still regarded as legendary enough. He's always, by the way, they both spot each other here. He's always invited to, you know, any kind of Legends of Brood War tournament. In the past, regarded as probably top 4 of all time. I think we're going to have to eventually reevaluate where exactly he is, along with all these other players, as remastered StarCraft has actually been out for a long time now. And as important as the very early days of StarCraft were, the modern days matter just as much. And so Stork is generally a guy, he'll qualify for ASL. He doesn't get too deep. But, you know, a god, one of the greats for sure. But I would certainly say it's fair to consider Queen the favorite here. So Queen goes for overpool, 6 slings being made, which, you know, really isn't too shocking considering the map itself. You have a 2 out of 3 chance that your opponent is going to be right by you. In this case, he knew before the pool was even done because he saw the probe come up here. So the 6 Zergling rush, I mean, this is pretty strong versus this. Dude, what? What? Hold on, I might have to actually check the replay when we're done here. Does he not know where the Zerg is? This is insane. Okay. Now, either he means to do that, and he thinks he can hold this one Zealot with, you know, all these Zerglings. He throws another, one Zealot. He throws the pylon down. The control here actually pretty good from Stork, all things considered. Keep in mind, oh, hold on, he's going to pull a few more probes down here. Now, the Zealot's inbound. So this is already a super chaotic game. Just at 3 minutes, things are already pretty out of control. He doesn't want to hit the probes just yet. He sees that basically the probes are ready to try to defend themselves. The Zealot's going to come in here, and he's going to not get that first drone. He's going to go for the pylon. Keep in mind, this should supply block the Protoss. It does. So after that Zealot, nothing else can be made. This Zealot's still alive. It's still a threat. It does back up. You know, one of the things about StarCraft is, like, I think people, because they see player APM, fantasize that the players are kind of doing everything. They're really not. They're really actually only doing one thing at a time, even if, you know, it's a fraction of a second to complete that task. So it is still a game of priority. Both these guys having to make some tough decisions on what to target, when to focus on their own base to defend. The Zealot, by the way, full HP, full shields, does manage to get out, and now we have a counter push. By the way, Link's speed has not been started. Only about 80 gas mines, so I think 100%. He's going to go for that upgrade once he has the income. There it is. But a 4 Zealot timing attack, 4 Zealots is kind of, especially with a probe, but even without, it's still pretty good. 4 Zealots is usually where the Zerg, especially without speedlings, is just at a massive disadvantage. So he's going to come up here. Now, does he push up the ramp? Does he go for the hatchery? Does he perhaps go behind the minerals? This is creating a lot of pressure. The Zerg cannot afford to lose a hatchery. Zerg trying to generate the image of a threat here. Stork, unfazed, is now going to get this to about 1/4 of its HP left. This should prompt the Zerg to attack no matter what. Stork does not go in and try to just get the kill. He doesn't go for the dive. Back at home, I don't... Oh, I'm sorry. There's so much happening here. There's still 2 Lings. This is wild, man. So, how many kills did they each have? Only 1. So it hasn't done too much. This is a really hairy position for both players. Some Lings stay back to defend, enough to keep the hatchery safe, but there's a big counterattack coming in here, and there's only 1 cannon. With these 2 Zerglings diving into the probe line, it should create an opening here for these Lings to come down and kill this this cannon off. Zergling speed's done, by the way, and a Hydra bust is going to be inbound after this. Another run in here. They're going to get yet another probe. Oh my god. Actually just squeezes right through the bottom of the minerals, right through the bottom of the mineral in the probe there. He gets another kill on that worker. He decides to then come out. He realizes he probably doesn't have that much more time yet. He needs to get, you know, the kills that he can possibly get away with. As many as he can get away with, excuse me. And he's actually going to come out and kill the 2, kill all the Zerglings and now get the drones. That was, I think, a big miscalculation there by Queen. And now they're going to run in. I was about to say he doesn't see Hydras yet, but, I mean, you're going to see the den right here. And, of course, with no layer, it couldn't be more obvious what's happening. Stork has killed all 4 of, or almost all 4 of the drones over here. And, you know, you really, when these attacks come in, it's worse for the Zerg to lose workers than it is even for the Protoss. The Protoss can probably lose 1 or 2 more. He sees the workers hatch. Meanwhile, back at home, the Stargate starts. And another cannon. It's always a little bit uncomfortable for the Protoss when the weapons upgrade is, it's coming along, but it won't be finished before the Hydras get there. It's where the Protoss has to debate the sunken cost fallacy. You know, how much is it worth it? How many Zealots can I sacrifice to protect this +1 attack upgrade? +1 attack is one of the best upgrades to have when Zerg doesn't have a layer yet, by the way. So, you know, Zerglings or no, it's just a good upgrade to have. So the 1 Hydra comes out, and it looks like, well, actually, this is so many Zealots, I do question if he's ever going to be able to come in here and actually fight all this. Pretty good control, I think, especially by Stork as he's driving this away. And now we're at about a 95% completion here on that upgrade. So this is a really good hold here by Stork. Meanwhile, the Corsair doesn't need to really scout the main, and it can instead kill the Overlords because the Zealots already confirmed what was coming. The more Hydras we see about to hatch, the less likely it is that the Zerg is going to back off. Layer's done. And, you know, while the Protoss was able to lash out and kill some Overlords and drive the Hydras back, the Hydras are going to once again try to come collapse on this position. So he sees that that second the upgrade's done, so it's probably a better priority to target down the gateway and cut out production. Corsairs are going to fly through and see if they can get any additional info. There is a Spire being made, by the way. It's about halfway done. The gateway's taken out. I don't think that he can get further than that. He is going to go for the Forge as well. You know, 3 Corsairs, this is really the number of Corsairs you get if they don't have mutas out yet, because 1 Hydra, 2 Hydras can't really cover the position. And this is, like, really bad here for the Zerg, because we're getting to the point where the supply blockage is going to be so massive, especially if these Hydras get moved later on. All 3 Corsairs survive, by the way, that he can probably just once again supply block them. Speed Zealots come out. The Hydras are going to be killed off. At least that one is. But, I mean, you can't produce right now. This Spire's going to finish. You can't get mutas even if you wanted to. The Zerg does catch up in that supply for a second, but he's at 44 of 44, so he's still... there's still some blockage there. There's still some gridlock growth. Growth gridlock, I guess you could say. The Zealots with the +1 are going to plow up the ramp. The Hydras are high enough in numbers that it's not going to be the easiest fight as long as the Hydras can get behind this position over here where they can use the drones and the structures inside the base to defend. But when the Protoss sees that, they just go for the drones instead. Meanwhile, another attack up here. Oh my god. No way! I almost forgot this was even a factor in this game. But I guess, hey, man, you know, it doesn't take that long to come back in here and do damage once more. He gets the kill. He takes the base out. I don't believe the lurker upgrade's done. I didn't see it researched there. Oh, my God. That actually might be fatal damage. The mutas are going to hatch, but it's late. Corsairs have been restarted back in the base. We've got Templars for Archons or Storm, depending on how Stork wants to try to close this out. And I feel like if these mutas can't do anything, there just isn't going to be a whole lot of room left in this game to really get anything off. This is 4 hatcheries total. The 5th is being remade. And what is this, 5 Corsairs? Keep in mind, he never lost any Corsairs earlier. He just let each Corsair run out of shields and hit points and then pulled it into safety. Cannon finishes here at the natural. And, I mean, look, there's this undeniable reality that the Protoss can get enough Corsairs, along with Templars and Zealots, that you're going to basically win every fight. The Zealots and the Templars can overpower the ground position, the Sunkens, the Hydralisks, all that, and the Corsairs will kill the mutas. In a perfect world, the Corsairs would have sniped the Templars, but, you know, the Corsairs are basically protecting the Templars. I mean, this just looks like, oh, hold up. He's going to try to outposition these. The Scourge are going to chase this back, and this is going to create an opening. Queen is so good. A Storm comes down. The Protoss really doesn't have many other choices other than to try to, you know, spam this out as best they can. Get the Storms off, try to get some value out of them. But the push is going to come in regardless. Now, I think this is going to be near impossible for Queen to hold. Does he have other Hydras over here? It seems like Stork may just have enough. So even though there was a pretty insane tactical play back here, this should basically be the closer. There should be enough Zealots that it's going to be so much damage to the drones and the Hydras. Plus, the Corsairs can kill off all of the Overlords, which once again supply blocks the Zerg. And the only things that are going to be left for the Zerg are whatever hatch out here. But the position here for Queen was honestly pretty insane. It was pretty crazy. Like, he held off what looked like almost double Zealots from what, you know, from the number of Hydras that he had. Robo starts, by the way. We're at 8 gateways. That's generally, at this phase of the game, the proper number of gates to have on 2 bases. You're going to have a lot of push potential. And the Corsairs, you know, with the Hydra number thinned out, it becomes much easier to find stray workers, or sorry, Overlords that just go in there for the kill. It's a little bit of a trickier thing to track in this matchup. It can look misleading. Like, you'll see the Protoss army die, but Overlords die, and it'll look like the Zergs won, but really what happens is the follow-up attack is going to be so devastating. And again, the mutas were picked off earlier on, so he doesn't have the same kind of ability to hold that. So that was crazy. That was an excellent game. I want to go back to the start here. What happened here? Because we saw... Let me look at this from Stork's perspective. Whoops. I always click the wrong one. Queen. No, Stork. Okay. Did he misread where his opponent was? Oh my God. So he never saw the Overlord here. That's pretty crazy. So he moved right through there, decided nobody was home. And that's why this Zealot came out and went to the bottom right. Kind of funny to see Stork, one of the greatest players of all time, make a mistake like that. And so what happened with his poor scouting, I feel like, by the way, 1 out of every 50 or maybe 100 ASL games, we have somebody do this, where they literally don't spot the first, you know, like the building in the main base. It doesn't happen when you're versus Zerg normally in that sense because you see creep, but not seeing the Overlord up here, kind of assuming it would have just been like right there. Or getting deep into a player's main base and thinking there's no Nexus there when they should have just gone a Hex up. So this game was pretty wild because Stork was actually in a horrible position, but in an impromptu fashion, turned it around. And then this Zealot really created enough chaos here. Even though we had a couple workers killed here, it delayed the momentum of the push. So definitely not a position Stork wanted to be in. If you see 6 Zerglings in this spot normally, you just stay back and defend. And it's not an easy early game for the Protoss, but if you hold it, you're usually okay. And this, I think, was really, really where he made it work for him. Putting the pressure on this hatchery. And you can see he knows exactly when to commit. By the way, props to him for not just going for it. Part of me, I think, maybe you guys can relate to this. I would have just tried to target down the hatchery and lose the Zealots, but I guess you'd probably die to a counterattack if he did that. But this is great because later on in the game, he actually comes in here and kills this off. So let's watch this and it speed up. So as the fight's done, he's at about 390 hit points on the hatchery. As we go on, I'm just gonna watch when he comes back in here and hits this. 10 minutes in here, he kills the hatchery with the Zealots. It's crazy. So just not overextending there, forcing a lot of lings out, and then protecting his base, but then coming in there with that big counterattack. Later on, he gets to kill the hatchery almost immediately. It's pretty crazy how that works out. Thank you so much for watching that cast of mine, which I do live on my Twitch. You can always join me on my Twitch stream. I stream usually weekdays, 1:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. KST, unless I've got something, I got to do some real-life stuff. See this shirt, the 1A, 2A, 3A shirt? I'm sure that's an input you're familiar with if you played a lot of StarCraft. You can get that at tastelessthreads.com, along with a bunch of other merch that I have that I've dropped there. We do have a 10% discount here for Christmas. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in a future video. Bye-bye.